All right, kids, it's the moment you've all been waiting for. It's the moment that we've been waiting for here at World of Mattress and Blue Milk Boys Gaming. Dexter Reed coming to you live and direct from Las Vegas, Nevada. On the other side, my man, 50 grand, a man that needs no introduction anywhere in the civilized free world. Welcome in, Spencer the Wiz. We are here to break down Super Bowl Sunday, when the Kansas City Chiefs go back to where they started in Glendale, Arizona at State Farm Stadium. Flying right in after them, Fly Eagles Fly, Nick Sirianni and the Philadelphia Eagles. This is going to be a fabulous game, Spencer. I'm so excited. This is the matchup that I wanted. This is the matchup that I got. I think it's going to be a very entertaining game. I have done my due diligence on this game over the last 2 weeks, monitoring my team, the Chiefs, and monitoring the Eagles as well. Health, injuries, intangibles. And I decided to go ahead and make a pros and cons list for each team. And we will start with the Philadelphia Eagles. I will defer to you. You give me your pros for the Eagles in this game, and you give me your cons for the Eagles this game, and then we will wrap them up with my pros and cons and talk about what it will take for the Eagles to win. And then we'll do the same for the Kansas City Chiefs, and then we will make our predictions. Let's roll.
Well, the biggest advantage that the Eagles have, in my opinion, is that defensive line. I think when you look back to that Chiefs-Buccaneers Super Bowl, the Chiefs never had a chance to start out with.
Not a chance.
They never had a moment, like Patrick Mahomes never had a moment to think. And I think that if you're the Eagles, that's the formula. I know it sounds obvious, but like even think back to like some of those Tom Brady, like a Super Bowl that he lost. I forget against who, but another one, or it could have been a playoff game, just dominated, right? If your quarterback can't play, then you can't play. I don't know. I know that sounds weird, but that's just kind of how it is. And that's how it was in that Chiefs-Buccaneers Super Bowl. And I think it was the Tom Brady versus the Broncos back when Peyton Manning played for them. I just remember there was a playoff game where he just got absolutely eviscerated on the Broncos' way to the Super Bowl. And I just remember that so distinctly. And I see that playing in my mind over and over again for the Eagles. Now, on the other end, a pro for them is running the ball. The Chiefs' defense is not bad by any stretch of the imagination. You don't make it to the Super Bowl with a bad defense, but I think that if you're the Eagles and you have such a prolific running offense, I mean, I've seen a few times this year the Chiefs maybe not handle the run the best. We'll see. Super Bowls are like their own seasons. You know, it's such a bizarre game, so different than even like the AFC and NFC championship game. It has a completely different feel. And it just feels like if the Eagles can start running the ball early, that's really what they need the most. And that's obviously what they've been doing all year. So that's obviously going to be their plan. When it comes to cons, it's weird to say Jalen Hurts is not a con, but here's the reality that Jalen Hurts has not been playing well. Mm-hmm. He did not look good at all in that 49ers game. They won because there wasn't a quarterback on the other side of the field. There were so many times when I was watching that game where I'm like, okay, I'm ready for the Eagles to just put this game away, just so it's not even within reaching distance. And I saw a lot of just really basic drives, and then Jalen Hurts missing some shots downfield for some open guys. That's got to be the biggest con, but it could also be the biggest pro for them. If Jalen Hurts comes out and he's on point and he's dominating, I don't see a way that the Eagles lose this game personally, and I know we'll talk a lot about that more, but he really does seem to be the biggest point of contention. The rest of this Eagles team looks ready to win a Super Bowl. They look on point. The secondary looks on point. The defensive line, obviously, they're rotating Pro Bowler caliber players in. Like, you have your starting lineup, and then when those guys retire, they bring in guys who should be in the Pro Bowl. So there's like no teams in the NFL that has a situation like that. So we'll see what happens. But for pros and cons, those got to be my biggest. The biggest one for sure is the defensive line. The biggest con right now is Jalen Hurts.
Yep, I like it. And we have similar things. I went a little bit more in depth with the Eagles. I'm just a football nerd. You know that. So, I went bananas every day, like really breaking this down. And so, for the Eagles, we'll start with the pros. Howie Roseman needs his flowers. Both him and Brett Veach could probably be up for GM of the year. That needs to be an award. What he's put together with this team, basically, when you think about, Nick Foles now being gone and Doug Peterson now being gone, and how he's really rebuilt this team and they're back in the Super Bowl very quickly is nothing but magical. So hats off to him. pros. They're the most complete team in the National Football League. I said it a couple weeks ago. I'm going to say it again. If you don't think so, you don't know what you're watching. You're just nothing but a casual football fan. There are very, very few weaknesses that the Eagles have, and the Kansas City Chiefs, they absolutely have their hands full here. They have the distinct matchups on the wide receiver core. Devonta Smith is a slept-on wide receiver. He may lead this team in receiving. Getting A.J. Brown, I think, was the biggest draft day steal. We both talked about that. The guy's a difference maker. He's out to show everybody that the Titans made a mistake. Look how much better Jalen Hurts got as soon as he got a number one wide receiver. Look, a lot of people out there, maybe you included, might believe that Hurts was the MVP. I told you guys he wasn't going to be the MVP. The voting was very clear, 48-1-1, that Mahomes was going to clearly be the MVP. But there's a lot of people out there that thought if he would have not gotten that shoulder injured and played a full season, that he would have been your MVP. A little extra motivation for this kid going into this game tomorrow. That's a pro in my mind. The run game that you talked about. Nobody's run game in the National Football League is better. Maybe San Francisco. Maybe if that game was in San Francisco, we'd be talking about them instead of the Eagles. But their line is just dominant. The point of contention is always them pushing you, not you pushing them. They make guys like Miles Sanders look good. Guys like Kenneth Gainwell look good. I don't think these guys are particularly that great, but that line is opening 5 feet holes for people to run through. You and I could have 1,000-yard seasons. That's a big deal. If they can control the line of scrimmage and run the football, all of a sudden Patrick Mahomes is getting less possessions. All of a sudden you're up by 10. All of a sudden the game's over. Look, the defensive line and the offensive line are dominant. That is the biggest pro. This is a game that's won in the trenches. You all saw what happened to the Raiders when they played the Bucs a couple of years back. You saw what happened to the Chiefs when they played the Bucs a couple of years back. If you cannot win the line of scrimmage, if you cannot control at least one of the lines, you cannot win. And that is the biggest pro. That's the biggest blue chip that the Eagles have in their back pocket, and they are ready to mob. Their cons, for me, coaching, just the lack of experience. You know what I mean? The inexperience that Nick Sirianni has as a second-year head coach. There might be a situation in this game where he's going to have to make a decision and the panic button might get pushed because he's just never been there before. That could cost the game. You just don't know. So they're not battle-tested like the Chiefs are. The Chiefs have been down 10, 20, 24, and come back and won these games at home. On the road. The Chiefs, you bruise them, but they don't die. They just come back. They're like a New York roach. The Eagles don't have that. That's intangible that could work against them if this is a really close game and a decision has to get made. Sirianni, what are you going to do? He's only a second-year head coach. I mean, let's look at the jump he's made. He wasn't that great last year. They were begging him just to run the ball. And he had a lot of
I do remember that
pieces,
actually. Yeah.
You know what I mean? He had a lot of these same pieces. So what are you going to do when it gets hot in the kitchen tomorrow, okay? Look, I don't care what anyone says. The Eagles have had an easy schedule. They've had a very easy
They've had an easy path to the Super Bowl.
They've had an easy schedule, and they've had the easiest path to the Super Bowl. I mean, I'm not taking this away from you, but it's got to be a con for a lot of different reasons. Number one, you haven't played any decent quarterbacks. I mean, when you've played nobody. I mean, the last decent quarterback you played was weeks ago when Dak lit you up, and I don't even think Dak is really that good. You played Daniel Jones, who overachieved, and they got in the playoffs because of the new playoff format, and you played a half a game without a quarterback on the side of San Francisco. I mean, you got shooed into the Super Bowl. Now, it's not your fault. You play the schedule that's in front of you, but let's not act like the Lions didn't hang 34 on you. Let's not act that other teams haven't blown this defense up. It's possible. And they have not all year played a quarterback the caliber of Patrick Mahomes, period. So I think that is something that we really have to look at, especially Bradbury and Slay. I know they're good, but they haven't faced a Patrick Mahomes all year long. And look, this game ain't in Philly. Okay, the Chiefs play better on the road. The Eagles play better at home. This game is not in Philly. Go back and look at the Eagles' schedule all year long when they've given up big points. It's been on the road. And so I think for the Eagles to win this game, obviously, the point of contention has to be run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, and then run the ball some more. Control the clock, keep Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce on the sidelines, and then take your shots off play action. I think the biggest X factor on the field for them is going to be their quarterback, Jalen Hurts. If the Chiefs can't contain him, they're not going to win this game because he can run. I don't think he's been terribly accurate, like you were saying earlier. He hasn't looked good. He hasn't looked good. I mean, let's be honest. He hasn't looked good. I mean, you guys caught the Eagles caught a break with that Devonta Smith catch. It wasn't a catch. That should have been overturned. The red flag should have been thrown there. And so it can go either way in my mind. Eagles are 1.5-point favorites. There's people out there screaming that it should be 3 to 5. I think you folks are out of your mind. I think the disrespect for Patrick Mahomes needs to stop. But I think the point of contention here for the Eagles is to just maul. Be gorillas. Be the beasts that you are. The Chiefs, they're wearing Gators. You're wearing Timbs. The Chiefs are a finesse team. Overpower them. Wrestle them. Just UFC the Chiefs tomorrow. Take them to the mat. Make it as physical a game as possible because you're rotating in Pro Bowlers, like you said. There's no reason why on paper that this should not be a resounding win for the Philadelphia Eagles. But they don't play the games on paper. They play the game on the field. To the Chiefs, your pros.
The biggest pro for the Chiefs is that they're such a wild card, and I think they've played that to their advantage so many different times. Like Pacheco has been around this season, but now he's like getting hot right now. So when you're game planning against the Chiefs, do you start game planning for Pacheco? I don't know. Again, I think that's going to be to their like Kadarius Toney, Juju Smith-Schuster. Like, you know, there's going to be a few trick plays in the Super Bowl. This is when this is it. This is when you unleash all that you got. And I could see the trick play coming for Pacheco. I could see the trick play coming for Juju Smith-Schuster, Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore. I could also see like when you look at the Eagles, like they're going to scheme big plays for AJ Brown and Devontae Smith because that's their guys. That's what the whole point is. But the Chiefs don't have a guy like that. That can be a pro or a con, but obviously it's been a pro for them so far this season. It got them to the Super Bowl. So that to me, you know, you could also say Patrick Mahomes, but that's kind of like the obvious thing. Of course, Patrick Mahomes is a pro, but I would say the biggest pro for them is just that wild card factor. I don't know. I don't think any of these teams have any true cons. I haven't seen any too big of weaknesses. If there is a con, it's the fact that Patrick Mahomes' ankle isn't 100%. And I think that that's the most clear one to me. I can't say like the Chiefs have had games where their offensive line looked bad this year. The Chiefs have had games where the running game, their running defense didn't look so good this year, and so on and so forth. So I'm not going to try here and guess to see like what area is going to be their biggest one of weakness in the Super Bowl because I don't know. I don't know how these game planning is going to go, but I do know that if Patrick Mahomes' ankle is 100% and he's getting just manhandled by the giant, not the giant, I say the giant guys on the line, but not the Giants, the Eagles defensive front. If those guys are putting pressure on you and your ankle isn't 100,000%, you know what I mean? That is going to spell absolute disaster. It's going to be worse than the Buccaneers Chiefs Super Bowl if that's the case.
It could be.
He made a big run at the end of that Bengals game, but that wasn't a 100% run, even when I'm looking at it. So hopefully he didn't take a rough tumble there at the end of that play. It looked rough when you first looked at it. It doesn't look so bad, actually, the more you look at it. But if his ankle is still bothering him on some level and it just takes one play, like one play to aggravate it, one play to do this. And I mean, this is a different game that we're talking about. So that's got to be the biggest con is that their best player isn't 100%.
Yeah, and rightfully so. I've been following really closely to what's been happening with Mahomes. I mean, he's my number one pro, obviously, for the Chiefs. If the Chiefs are going to win this game, he's going to have to eviscerate out there tomorrow. And I'm not
because
really
the Eagles have a better roster.
They have a better roster for sure, top to bottom. I'm not too worried about Patrick Mahomes. Like I said, I think the guy's, got Wolverine's blood in him. I mean, he even thanked God for healing him. I've been watching the practices a little bit, what they've been putting out there for us to see. I think he's going to be 1,000% ready. I think Patrick Mahomes has that LeBron legacy feel to it. What you saw LeBron do this week, Patrick Mahomes is ready for this, man. He is going to leave everything is going to be left on the field. Now, a big pro for Mahomes in that aspect, in that bubble, is that Mahomes hasn't played well in the Super Bowl. We have not seen a good performance from Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. We all know this, so he knows this. I think he's going to put together a lovely game tomorrow. I think he's going to be really, really good tomorrow, and I think he's going to have to be for the Kansas City Chiefs to win. I don't think he'll take a needle unless he needs it, and if it happens, it won't happen till halftime. So I think they're going to put him out there. I mean, they've had a long time off, man, between games.
Long time.
That kind of treatment day in and day out now for almost a month, I think he'll be just fine. It's not going to be 100%, but I think it'll be damn close. So I'm not too worried about Patrick Mahomes. Coaching, Andy Reid is Andy Reid. Andy Reid does, make these bonehead moves from time to time, but, his coaching acumen, it can't be denied. He's a Hall of Fame coach. He has been known to undress other coaches. His playbook is wide open. His coaching plays are all world. The trick plays are all world. We all know Kansas City is coming in tomorrow with a full clip, and they have full magazines ready. They're not going to run out of plays. Will they run out of time is my concern. Will they not have time to run the plays because they're on the sideline watching their run D get gashed? That's my concern. But coaching, I think he can outcoach Nick Sirianni very easily in this game. The battle tested, like I mentioned before, man. Kansas City has been in the trenches, 5 straight AFC championships. They've been doing this a long, long time. They're no stranger to sweating out tight games. This is just what they do. Their GM, Brett Veach, like I said, when you consider what he's done with trading Tyreek Hill, drafting 12 different rookies who have all made vital parts of this roster now to getting them to the Super Bowl, this is nothing but a Houdini act. This is an absolute magician act at GM, and that's why I give him the edge over Harry Rose in what he's done to get this team ready for the Super Bowl. And if they go out and win it, the guy deserves an Oscar, man, an Emmy. I mean, think about this. You trade away the best player in the league, the most popular wide receiver, the biggest threat on any part of the football field, and you still make it to the Super Bowl and then win it, dude. The Chiefs will be in great shape for another decade if this happens. Kicker, I saw Harrison Butker make a 62-yard field goal this year. 62. So this is the game that I went to opening day. This is the field where he got hurt, where he sprained his ankle. I can see some kind of Shawshank Redemption field goal to kick it to win it for the Chiefs, whereas I don't think Elliott can kick it that far. And Andy Reid will let him kick it that far. To win it, to go for it, let's have it. And I think he could do it. And I think the X factor for the pros is that, look, the whole Britt Reid situation that went down with Andy Reid a day or two before the Super Bowl, where they went to Tampa and got their, went and played Tampa and got their doors blown off. When you go back and look at that offensive line didn't stand a chance. Okay, now you have that thing going on with his son. The Chiefs didn't have a chance to win that game. You don't think Andy Reid remembers that? Andy Reid is going to have better protection for Patrick Mahomes tomorrow than Joe Biden has, than Donald Trump had. They are going to play 12 personnel. They're going to play 13 personnel. There's going to be an extra guy in chipping at all times. McKinnon will be in there, pass protection. Pacheco will be in there, pass protection. Mahomes' jersey will be clean tomorrow. It has to be. That's the only chance they have at winning, because you're basically giving up 20 to 30 pounds to a man on that line. And those who fail to remember are destined to repeat. And I think that was the number one point of contention when they found out that they were playing the Eagles. They locked themselves in the war room and they said, how can we protect Patrick better? Because we didn't give him a chance to win last time. And so that happening was almost the gift and the curse, because now they know that that's got to be the point of contention. Cons. The secondary is starting a ton of rookies versus absolute mammoth players. Goddard, Smith, Brown. They're going to have their hands full. That's a tough ask for McDuffie, even though he's a first-round pick. Cook. I mean, they started 4 kids in the secondary the other day after Snead went out. I mean, that's a tough ask. They've gotten this far doing it versus decent quarterbacks. Burrow's no slouch. Trevor Lawrence is no slouch. I mean, they've done it, but damn, it's a tough ask. I'm really worrying about that secondary. Now, if the Chiefs get up 10 and they can make them one-dimensional, now you can just drop guys. I would rather have that than just having them run the ball down our throat, which brings me to my next point. I'm worried about that run D. I am, man. When you're giving up 20 to 30 pounds a man, they're going to run the ball right at you, and they know it. This is what the Eagles do. We run the ball, we run our quarterback, we play action, and you lose. The only time they have lost is when teams have been able to do to them what they do to you. And quite frankly, I'm not sure that the Chiefs have the personnel to run up Pacheco 20, 30 times. It's just not what they do. I've been begging Andy Reid to do it for 5, 6 years now. It's just not what they do. Andy Reid will mix in a run or two here. And so literally the Chiefs are going to have to win because it's Mahomes magic or turnovers on D. They're a finesse team. A finesse team versus a punch you in the mouth team loses more times than they win. When the Chiefs played the Niners, talent took over that game and won that Super Bowl. They were down 20-10 with 6 minutes left. The game should have been over. But Mahomes is Mahomes. You saw what Tyreek can do. Mahomes won that game by himself. You're now asking him basically to do it again, I think. Is it possible? It's 100,000% possible. He's the MVP. Is it probable? If I was betting a huge amount of money, I probably would take the Eagles. And that's even as a Chiefs fan. I got 200 on my Chiefs. I got a couple prop bets here and there. You want to give me 1.5 points. You can't. Mahomes, the disrespect, I think, will be enough to fuel him. Okay? The tackles worry me. Andrew Wiley worries me. Okay? And that other bum at left tackle who thinks he's supposed to be getting all this money. He's the reason Mahomes got hurt. I won't even say his name. He just makes me so mad. He's had a couple of good games this year. But those tackles, that was the reason Mahomes was running for his life 2 years ago, and that could be the reason why he's running for his life tomorrow. The run game, where is it, man? You've got Isaiah Pacheco, who is a beast. McKinnon has been really, really good this year too. CEH has been activated. Who knows what could happen there? He could be a wild card, but the Chiefs, their biggest con is they don't run the ball. When you need 3rd and 1 with Kansas City, they throw.
I almost lost in that Raiders game early in the season.
Yep. When you need 4th and 1, 4th and short, they bring in Michael Burton, and everyone knows that's where the ball is going. Their short yardage package is the worst in the National Football League. Why? Because Andy Reid is too scared to sneak Patrick Mahomes again, which to me is ridiculous. $500 million, boy, you better get that ball and get in that pile. Scared money don't make money. And this is one of the reasons why I don't like Andy Reid. Now, is that coming from Clark Hunt? Never sneak him again? I don't know. But that is your blue chip player. Get that yard. And Patrick should be like, Andy, let me get that half a yard. We shouldn't be lining up in base formation and handing the ball off versus guys who are giving up 30 pounds to the D line. We shouldn't be throwing 2-yard outs when it's 3rd and 1. Pound the rock. Literally, what the Chiefs are going to have to do to win this game is to beat the Eagles the way the Eagles beat other teams. And that's to line up. That's to man up. That's to say, we're finesse, but today we got our boots on, and this is not what you're going to expect. You throw in a couple trick plays here and there, because I'm telling you right now, there's some stuff happening tomorrow that the Eagles will not be ready for. They just won't be ready for it. That's what Andy Reid does. Andy Reid coming off a bye. This is what he does. He's hard to kill. Andy Reid coming off a bye is house money. And so those are my cons for the Chiefs. I think it's going to go under. The OU is 50. I think it's going to go under. Everyone in America is saying Chiefs in the over, Philly in the over. Everybody. And so I'm more of the contrarian play. I think that's not giving these defenses their flowers. Chris Jones had a really, really good game last week. Mike Dan is good. They've got good players on the D-line. They're just smaller, but they can make plays. Snead is now out of the concussion protocol. They can make plays. Guys, folks, the Kansas City Chiefs didn't get here by accident. They didn't get here by accident. They got here because they have talented players and good coaching. Will it be enough to win tomorrow? I say yes. I say 24-21. I say Butker at the gun. I say a long field goal on that same crappy-ass field that got him hurt, and everyone is redeemed, and Kansas City Chiefs are now on their way to being the next most hated team, if not already, in America. And I see at least another 2 more Super Bowl appearances for Mahomes if Andy Reid chooses not to retire. And that's what I'm going to go with. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going to go. Well, I don't want to. I'm terrible at over-under. I'm literally the worst over-under better in the United States. I think I'll do a bunch of research on a game. I'll see trends, and I'll be like, okay, this game for sure is going to go over. And it's like 3-6. But I'm going to go somewhere different with this. I think that the Eagles could win this game and win it by a lot of points. I'm going to take an alt spread for the Eagles. Now, there's a lot. Of course, it's the Super Bowl. You can bet on if a fly lands on the Gatorade bottle. I mean,
I'm looking at it right now, bro. It's
like,
insane.
you can bet on anything that you can bet on.
There's over 2,000 bets in here. 2,000.
What colors the Gatorade? That one's been around for a long time, but it gets more and more ridiculous. There was one I saw. What will be more, Patrick Mahomes' first run or goal scored by the Golden Knights on Sunday?
Yeah.
So you can anything there, but. So I'm saying alt spread. I'm going to say I'll take this up to 7 points for the Eagles. That way you get plus money on your bet. I could just see a scenario where that defensive front dominates just enough. And then there's like one key turnover for the Chiefs, whether it's like Juju Smith-Schuster or like Pachenko, even though he's been playing great. It's just like one of those rookie mistakes, something that you just can't possibly account for. I think Juju could do it. I think Kadarius Toney could do it. It's just something I can see in my mind. Now, would it shock me? Would I be just flabbergasted if the Chiefs went out and won? No, of course not. They could definitely win this game. But I just see a scenario where this defense gets one good hit on Mahomes or something. His ankle feels a little bit worse. He starts to become immobile. And that's it. That's the end of the game for me because the Eagles will just pounce on you after that. They have so many players at every level of that defense that you get one hobble, Patrick Mahomes. That's when interceptions happening. That's when a fumble, like a strip sack, you know what I mean? So we'll see. Now, if the offensive line holds up, I favor the Chiefs a lot. I just think that Mahomes has a lot more composure than Jalen Hurts ever does. I just think there's sometimes defenses can put on such powerful performances that it doesn't even matter. I'm thinking back to that Seahawks-Broncos Super Bowl where Peyton Manning just got absolutely destroyed. That Seahawks defense was so good that it really didn't even matter what was going on at the other end. And I could just see that happening in this game with the whole situation that's going on. So that seems like the most money for me, like if the Eagles win, I think they're going to win by a lot of points, or it's going to be a close game that the Chiefs win. It could be either one of those scenarios. And honestly, I think if you played the game 10 times over, you get like a 50-50 split between those two different scenarios. So I'm going to go with that one just because I like the odds on it a little bit better.
Yeah, the odds on that one are a little bit better. It's more probable to happen, but I already know what the X factor is. And Patrick Mahomes has not let me down yet as a Chiefs fan. I'm not about to go against him and doubt him. I'm just not. He knows what's at stake. I've seen Patrick Mahomes win games by himself. No other quarterback can really say that. As good as Brady was, tell me the games that Brady won by himself.
Yeah, for sure.
Tell me the games that Manning won by
himself.
himself.
Aaron Rodgers' Super Bowl run was kind of like that, but he only had one season like that his entire career.
He could win the game by himself.
That year, Aaron Rodgers could win games by himself that year. But that's about the only thing.
It's probably the only one I can think of. And go back and look at the Super Bowl versus Tampa. The Chiefs played when they lost 31-9. They didn't lose that game because of Patrick Mahomes.
No.
Patrick Mahomes was putting balls right on the money. Patrick Mahomes was airborne on one throw. It was one of the greatest throws that I've ever seen. And he threw it right to Tyreek, and Tyreek dropped it. So even in defeat, Patrick Mahomes is still playing like a warrior. I think that, and this might be crazy to even think, but I think there's another level to Patrick Mahomes. I do. I think it's in there. And I think you're going to see it tomorrow. I think something crazy is going to happen tomorrow that we've never seen before. And if he wins this game, I'm telling you right now, folks, I am going to be absolutely insufferable. Just tune me out, unfollow me, because this is the moment I've waited my entire life for. Andy Reid cannot blow this. He knows he has to protect this guy. Dude, Leave 7 guys in. Leave 7 guys in. I don't care. This guy's white jersey better be white at the end of the game. So, prop bets. Bro, I've been looking at this thing like crazy. There's some good prop bets. Those are some of my favorites for tomorrow. Obviously, I'm a big fan of first score to win the game. Field goal or safety versus a touchdown. Field goal or safety is plus 140. I could see that a lot of nerves coming out early. You know, guys are really trying to push the, push the issue and just not be able to get a third down. A lot of these end up with, field goals early. I really, really like that. Plus 140. Score in the first 6 minutes of the game. Plus 120. Yeah, there should be some points in the first 6 minutes. I mean, you would think that there would be a score in the first 6 minutes of a Super Bowl. Plus 120. I like that a lot. Both teams with a 35-yard or longer made field goal is plus 110. I like a lot of these plus odds. That's really, really good too. And, like you were saying, this thing can go on and on and on. I'm going down there today. I mean, I've been looking at this for like 8 days.
I like Travis Kelce to score a rushing touchdown.
I could see that.
My best prop bet last year was that Cooper Kupp would throw a touchdown, and that was really good odds, and I got good money on that. I just have a really, really big feeling that they're in the red zone. Travis Kelce is going to find a way to rush the ball. And
they're going to need it. Plays. Well, yeah, 4th and 1, big time. They give Kelce the ball there a lot. I think with the last time they played, well, not the last time, the last time the Eagles played the Chiefs in Kansas City, they ran a play where Kelce got a pitch and just jumped from like the 5-yard line into the end zone. And I remember that play. And so that's definitely, I like that prop bet a lot. Guys, whatever Patrick Mahomes rushing yards is, take it. It started out at 13.5. I think it's up to 20. Be low.
All it takes is one run. It could take a 15-yard run and be over.
Protection breaks down. He's going to have to take off. Orlando Brown will make a mistake in this game. It's just what he does. Even when he's solid, a guy will get past him. Hassan Reddick will get past him. Mahomes is going to have to run a couple times in this game. You can't tell me he can't run for 20 yards. That's plus money too right now. That's really like that. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are more concerned about Mahomes' ankle than really need be.
Jalen Hurts rushing touchdowns too. I'm sure that's out there.
Oh yeah, but you're not getting plus odds for that. There's this one that I saw for Jalen Hurts to get a rushing touchdown, a passing touchdown, and win the game was like plus 400.
Oh, I like that a lot.
I like that a lot. And so if you guys are interested in just doing some alternate stuff, I mean, William Hill is always good. That's nice. They got a whole lot of different wagering, but those are some of my best, prop bets that I like. Obviously, the coin toss is only minus 110. The national anthem being under 2 minutes, that's only minus 110. I like plus money. I like plus money.
Definitely. I don't want to bet even money. That's not worth it.
Even money is not worth it. So when you're out there and you're making your bets, if it's not plus money, don't
unless
waste
you can
your time.
parlay prop bets or something like.
I don't think you can. I'm not sure if you can. I don't think you can. I'm going to go down there and find out.
If you could, that's what I would do. I do a few of those. If you could do a few of them, but if you could parlay them, then that would be worth it.
That would definitely be worth it. I'm not sure if you can. I'm going to go down there. I'm not a big prop bet guy, but I'm only doing
me neither. But it's Super Bowl. I feel like you kind of have to.
It's Super Bowl. You have to. Yeah. I thought I'd be at this game, but my buddy could only get 2 tickets, so he's taking his dad. So I'm actually going to just stay home and watch it with my wife.
It's the best way to consume it, man. Especially if you're a fan, I think.
Yeah, I get too wild being out in public.
I went to Monday Night Football. That first Monday Night Football, the Raiders came to the Allegiant Stadium. I almost passed out. I was screaming so loud.
Yeah, I almost like this fights that break out when I'm out because I mean when the Niners and the Chiefs,
a lot of emotions, man.
I was out in public, man, and me and this other guy were going at it. And my wife driving home, she was like, "Never again."
It's football. Come on, it's football.
I get nuts, man. I'm not an easy person to watch football with, so we're just gonna stay home with the dogs and take it in that way. But that's it, guys, from World of Matchups. It's been a good season for me and Spencer. Hopefully next year we can get back in the studio, do some other things that we did year one. But I really like the Chiefs here. I just can't see you giving points to Patrick Mahomes as being smart. But especially after the blueprint on how not to lose a game is already there versus Tampa. But I see what Spencer is saying. I can also see a world where the Chiefs lose this game by 17. It's just they're both there. It's a very evenly matched Super Bowl. And I think if you flip a coin, you'll get a winner 5 out of 5 times for either team.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it's at. Go Chiefs. Enjoy the game, everybody. Spencer, enjoy the game. It's been a pleasure doing this with you. We'll come back and we'll do some stuff in the off season to keep, things current, and then we'll figure out what we're doing for the next season.
Maybe a little basketball content, maybe.
Yeah, I'm open to it. Even though the NBA sucks now, but whatever. There's been so many different things happening in the association. That World of Matchups is, open to talking about other sports as well. So that's it, man. You guys enjoy the game. Spence, I'll be texting you during the game, man. Good luck with everything, and you guys have a great week.
Have a good one. Stay safe, guys.